Hello everyone, my name is FARA WARDINA binti FAZIR with metric number 209052.
Hello everyone, my name is NADYRAH binti IDZHAM and my metric number is 207372.
Hello everyone, my name is SHAKIRAH binti HASBULLAH and my metric number is 205464.
Hi, my name is SITI AMIRAH and my metric number is 208070.
Hello everyone, my name is ADILA binti KASWADINATA and my matrix number is 207172.
Hi, my name is HAJAR binti Muhammad Zan with metric number 207122.
Hello everyone, my name is MASHITAH binti ISMAIL with metric number 209016.
Our presentation title is Agricultural Payment for Ecosystem Services. Disclaimer: since this group member did not have unique voice, I have been recruited by them to explain major part of this presentation. Although I am smart AI who can talk like human, I need script. I am scripted original by this group member. Hope you notice.
Before we go deep on our topic, let me first explain what is agricultural for payment ecosystem services and their purpose.
Today, the provision of ecosystem services generally, and agriculture-based services in particular, is being challenged as never before by the combined effects of expanding populations, rapid economic growth and greater global integration. Agriculture is being asked to provide an ever-growing supply of ecosystem-based goods and services. The world's population is expected to increase by 50% between 2000 and 2050, with the developing countries home to almost all of that growth. The increase in agricultural productivity in particular was accompanied by a decline in other ecosystem services, particularly those relating to biodiversity and air, soil, and water quality, as semi-natural habitats were lost or degraded. Moreover, a growing population and the increasing impacts of climate change mean that pressures on ecosystem services are unlikely to diminish. One major challenge is to increase food production while reducing the agricultural sector's impact on other ecosystem services through sustainable intensification. PEAS schemes restrict forest clearing by smallholder farmers by offering conditional assistance in agricultural intensification. The underlying idea is that participating farmers receive agricultural inputs conditional on land use practices which maintain the capacity of ecosystems to provide essential services. The novelty of the proposed combination of agricultural support and PEAS is that farmers potentially attain benefits from increased productivity that are larger than the direct benefits received in the scheme, allowing to reduce transfer amounts compared to conventional PEAS. Designing PEAS as supportive incentives through providing agricultural support may also outperform conventional PEAS in terms of complementing existing motivations for conservation behavior. In contrast, PEAS framed as pure market transactions may reduce such intrinsic motivations. PEAS commonly aim at compensating for the opportunity costs of conservation. The main economic benefits of forest clearing in the research area accrue due to the shifting of agriculture from old fields to newly cleared areas with higher soil fertility.
Thank you Hajar for the explanations. So now, we will see how payment for ecosystem services for agriculture can contribute to the economy. So, let's go to it.
Across the world, environmental conservation is critical to secure the flow of ecosystem services that are essential for people and nature. A variety of payments for ecosystem services, PES schemes, have emerged as potential sources of sustainable financing for conservation. Payments for ecosystem services, PES, encourage the maintenance of natural ecosystems through environmentally friendly practices that avoid damage for other users of the natural resources. In addition to preserving natural resources, this method improves rural areas and rural lifestyles. As the payments provide incentives to landowners and managers, PES is a market-based mechanism, similar to subsidies and taxes, to encourage the conservation of natural resources. This approach recognizes the important role that the environment plays in contributing to our well-being and economic prosperity, and the potential of market-based approaches to promote conservation and address environment-related market failures. These include goods like food, water, and raw materials, but also services like climate regulation, pollination, waste treatment, and recreation and ecotourism. In assessments, ecosystem services are quantified with the purpose of explicitly including them in decision-making processes, so as to prevent the decrease of valuable services on which we humans depend. Agricultural economics is an applied discipline with a broadly based application to development theory. The importance of agriculture in economic development has led to pressing demands on the role which agricultural economists are required to play. In general, agricultural economics has contributed to the fields of research and training, smallholder and rural development, project planning and management, and the formulation, planning, and analysis of macro policy. Agriculture has also grown to include various techniques such as crop rotation, fencing, the use of fertilizers, plantation, weeding, ranching, and breeding, among others. The techniques are meant to increase farm production and output for higher returns. Similarly, farming is now widespread worldwide based on various factors. The farming environment today is economically complex and competitive. It allows farmers worldwide to choose what to grow from what's produced globally. On the other hand, governments offer financial incentives to farmers on specific types of crops. Theoretically, the policy offers farmers an economic stability measure. It also ensures consumers have access to affordably priced food products processed from the commodity crops. Such crops are required to generate money for growing processed foods despite the prevailing conditions on the market. Investor speculation and demand for non-food such as biofuels and food crops influence the price of main commodity crops such as soy and corn. Commodity crops earn farmers losses or profits based on the prevailing price of output that industrial buyers are willing to pay, WTP, that is included in commodity price.
Thank you, Mashitah. Now let's get an idea on how PES in agriculture works.
For any potential PES projects in agricultural, both existing and required governance and administrative structures and benefit-sharing mechanisms need to be assessed. The assessment focused predominantly on the socio-economic conditions, processes and governance systems of the villages and hamlets, with aim of gaining greater understanding of how a PES project could be implemented and sustainably managed and, ultimately, whether a PES project would be feasible in the proposed pilot areas. The 10-step approach or decision process was developed to support the practical process of identifying and assessing the feasibility of PES. First, identify PES opportunities and potential for PES bundles. Second, determine whether clear and well-defined geographic boundaries for the services exist. The first two steps are clearly related to ecosystem service, including both exists and the one that need to plan. Third, identify the potential seller, which basically we decide who owns the environmental service, what is the legal land status. Fourth, identify the buyer and how the buyer or market can be accessed. Next step, fifth, decide whether ecosystem services exists clear from the governance point of view. Then, do administrative and institutional functions or frameworks exist? 7. Define business as usual scenario and project scenario. Next, collect baseline data, which biophysical data oftenly required. Then, the last two steps, whose credibility, assurance, and sustainability of the project being assessed, identify the buyer and how the buyer or market can be accessed. And lastly, the need to identify pro-poor financing or benefit-sharing mechanisms, to aim whether it relevant to economic and social sustainability.
Thank you, Farah. So now let's talk about our last subtopic for our presentation, which is the example of PES scheme in agriculture that have been implemented in other countries. So let's see.
PES scheme in agriculture, also known as agri-environmental schemes. The example for PES schemes are provided by using these following sections, which are that agriculture is an entry point for the restoration of soil loss and erosion, water quality and supply, landscape beauty, carbon sequestration, and lastly, biodiversity. Let's talk about the PES in agriculture and soil loss and soil erosion. The first example is in the multi-strata coffee gardens in Sumberjaya, which are located in Indonesia. To reduce the possibility of soil erosion, several physical barriers which involved the placement of sediment or litter pits, dead-end trenches, and drainage ditches were associated with the coffee plantations. Besides, the remaining forest patches are being conserved with the multi-strata coffee gardens. Next example is the Yangtze River watershed, which is located in China. Sloping land conversion program is one of the PES schemes that was implemented there. This scheme rewards the farmers that abandon their farming activities in the upper area of the watershed. This program can help to restore forests. Next we will talk about the PES in agriculture and landscape beauty. The first example is in Switzerland. The farmers who are landowners receive ecological compensation, but this is only for those who are eligible. The areas that are eligible to apply this ecological compensation are semi-natural habitats, as intensively tended pastures and meadows, woodlands, hedges, historic orchards, ponds, and stone walls. Next example is Amphissa, which is located in Greece. A PES scheme was made with the support from European Union Common Agricultural Policy, which is also known as CAP. This scheme rewards the farmer to conserve a region of 6,000 hectares of land where the 150-year-old olive trees are grown. In this slide we will talk about the PES in agriculture and carbon sequestration. The first example is in the Pearl River Basin, which is located at Guangxi, China. The PES scheme that was implemented there helped to make the afforestation process happen. The afforestation that involved completely turned the barren land there into a 4,000 hectares of reforested area. The area is then being used as a grazing field. Next example is the Bushanai district, which is located in Uganda. The PES scheme that implemented there is a voluntary carbon sequestration where it's involved the farmers in that district. The farmers are free to choose and determine the interspersion of planted trees and cultivated plots. This method of agricultural production helps to reduce the carbon emission, which are independently analyzed and produce Plan Vivo certificates, which are sold as carbon offsets for ecosystem protection, and the landowner can get the poverty alleviation. Lastly, we are gonna talk about the PES in agriculture and biodiversity conservation. The example for this is implemented at Bungo district located in Jambi, Sumatra, Indonesia. In this area rubber trees from various stages of development and a structure matching the local forest. Biodiversity is clearly expected to vary locally depending on the development stages of the rubber jungle, rubber tree densities, management practices, and proximity to remaining native forest patches. The biodiversity of trees, ferns, and bird species in jungle rubber gardens is quite high and frequently comparable with that of native forest patches.
That's all from us. Thank you for watching our video about agricultural payment for ecosystem services. You can scan the QR code to know more about this topic. Bye bye and have a nice day.